Hey guys, welcome back to the Prayer Squad podcast. I'm your host, Catherine Mary, and today we have a special guest. This is Lauren Worrich. She is one of my friends from church. We've known each other for 2 years, and she just started her first year of college. So she's going to tell us about that and her testimony. And yeah, I'm really excited for this episode. Take it away.
Hey y'all, my name is Lauren Elizabeth Worrich, but my friends call me Lou. I grew up a cradle Catholic in South Texas. I attended faith formation classes from elementary till middle school with the help of my parents guiding me through my faith. While I always had a positive outlook on life, I struggled with a lot of self-esteem and confidence growing up due to bullying and undiagnosed learning disabilities and high anxiety, which led to bad habits, and I would completely isolate myself, especially in high school where I would sit alone at lunch and I would be scared to talk to people. It felt like I had no one at all. Teachers were mean to me and didn't help me with my learning disability. I had so many insecurities where people didn't believe I was being bullied and they played it off like it was humorous or that they liked me. During my 7th grade year, I started my charity called Lou's Dream to promote literacy and speak out on learning disabilities because no one was ever there for me except for my parents, but they never experienced or really knew how to help me. I started teaching faith formation soon after that. I was confirmed in my faith that summer. I went to Life Teen Camp at Cove Crest. It genuinely changed my life, and I created so many friendships and healthy routines. While being at camp, it was my biggest blessing. I started off only knowing 2 people and ended up knowing the whole camp. I started attending Life Teen at the parish that I went to camp with, and I've never been to Life Teen before this. This parish is such a blessing, and I completely came out of my shell, and I was there every single week of my senior year. I love it there. Throughout my senior year, I taught faith formation classes and I hosted regular Bible studies. I learned a lot about myself in this journey that is not over yet. There's so much to be grateful for, and there's so much good in this world. I'm not a sob story, but I realize I have to be my biggest fan. I have to completely believe in myself always. I joined a sorority and I make it my personal mission to make sure everyone knows how incredibly loved and appreciated they are. Because we don't know how much love, if any, they have experienced. So I like to be everyone's friend. I like to be happy, and I like to share my light with everyone.
That is so inspirational. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just mentioned that you just started your first semester of college. So do you want to talk to us a little bit about how that admissions process was and how you chose what school you were going to?
Yes, so I attend University of Kansas in Lawrence, Kansas, which is around 11, 12 hours from where I grew up. And a lot of people will say, that's crazy. How could you ever go so far away? Do you not miss your family? I miss my family every day. I literally call them literally all the time. My parents like, go make some friends. But I make plenty of friends too. I also got to school around, I think, a week or 2 before classes started because I joined a sorority, which I was hesitating to join one because of all the stigma surrounding sorority life and Greek life. And I ended up going through the process of Rush. And it was very eye-opening because I saw so many people that were like me. When you think of a sorority girl, you think of Alabama Rush and like all the spray tans and the blonde girls, and it's not who I am at all. But there's so many people that are, all the girls are so incredibly smart, and I love it there so much. I chose the University of Kansas because my mom started a soccer team here, which is not the reason I went there. I never wanted to just do something because someone else did it, but it brought my eyes over here. It has the best early education, special education program, which is what I'm doing because I want to be a special education teacher. And it has fall here, which is not a big thing, but for people that live in Texas, fall is a big deal, and I've never experienced it, and now I get to experience seasons, which is great. But just, it feels like home away from home, honestly, and I love it here so much.
That's so great. Yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about how it was going through that rush process, especially as a Catholic girl?
Yes, so you're gonna have full days, and you're gonna be tired, and you're gonna have to put on like makeup and hair, and I didn't know how to do any of that stuff, so my roommates were lovely in helping me about all that stuff. But you're gonna have to have conversations with people, and you're not supposed to talk about like the 4 B's, Bibles, Biden, boys, beer. You're not supposed to talk about that stuff. But I was talking about like my religion because if any sorority cuts me because I'm talking about my faith, do I really want to be there? And so I was just talking about myself, and because they ask you some very like basic questions, I did the recommendation letters and all that good stuff because my mom was an athlete here. She didn't really know. She just was trying to set me up for the most success. And we tried that, and honestly, I was having so much fun. I loved meeting new people, and it was fun until the end when you get cut from the one that you really wanted and you realize this was God's sign because the ones that you wanted turn out they're not very nice people and you're happy at where you are because I pledged Kappa Delta, which is such a lovely organization. So yeah, I have a different rush experience than most of the girls in my sorority. I suicide bid, which is so dramatic. It means so you only put two, or I only put one house down that I wanted, and I didn't get a bid back from that one. So I was bidless, and then I was out eating ice cream with one of my mom's friends, and we got a call from Kappa Delta because they realized I wasn't there and they wanted me there. And my mom's like, the other school, the other house is not asking you. They're not noticing that you're gone. Take the call. So that's how I got into Kappa Delta.
That is awesome.
I'm gonna be going for a director's position pretty soon, which I'm very excited about. I'm trying to get director of philanthropy and community service.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because sororities are based on sisterhood and community service, and my whole life has always been about community service. So I'm like, this will be so much fun. And our charity is we do help with children that deal with abuse, and then we also help with Girl Scouts.
That's so cute. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little more about your charity and yeah, like what Lou's Dream is and what inspired you to start that.
So when I was in middle school, I always wanted to help because it's just my just my passion. Like I like making people happy. So I was in this club called the Kindness Club, and I was there from sixth grade to eighth grade. And when I was in seventh grade, there was this speaker that came in and worked for this organization called Give More Hugs. And he's like, I'm looking for ambassadors. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. So I applied, and then I got in, and honestly, it kind of just took off. And their thing was about literacy, and so around my eighth grade year, I worked with them for about 2 years, and I started my own. I did a talent show because I don't like to do the normal things. I kind of like to go above and beyond. So I did a talent show my seventh grade year, and I raised around $500. I got two schools brand new books. Yeah. And then I did it again my eighth grade year. And when I got into high school, it's a little harder to make giant talent shows. So I did book drives and I collect thousands of books. And one year I collected money, and all that money it came for kids that have special needs or learning disabilities. They want to read books that are like high interest levels, but their brain, like, they can't read like super high, like intense books, but they want to have like fun characters and stuff like that. So all that money went to the special education program so they can buy books that have like high interest levels. So I kind of sometimes go to libraries and like, do you have any books that you're not using? And then I'll give it to them. But my one thing that I always do is I write letters of encouragement in every single one of the books. It takes forever, but every single book, it would be like on the sides of the book, there would be a little sticky note or a little art piece that my kids would write in my classroom. And it would say like, you're amazing, like I love you. Because it's just nice because these kids, we don't know if this is their first book they ever received or their 100th book. You don't know what their financial obligations or why they're in the place that they are. And you just because literacy is such a gift, and I'm just happy that these kids will have the opportunity. And I also talk a lot about learning disabilities because nobody talked to me about that. And I was kind of just thrown in the wolves. My parents don't have learning disabilities, and so I didn't know anything about it. And so now I go to these elementary schools and I read them books about learning disabilities and I ask them questions because Nobody did that to me, and I want to make it their mission to know that these kids are not stupid. So I kind of hype them up, and I make sure that they know how wonderful they are, and like how beautifully and wonderfully created they are, because it's true. So
That's
yeah, that's kind of
amazing.
Lou's dream.
Yeah, I have been to several Bible studies with you and our friends from church, and at some of them we have gotten to participate in writing those letters to the kids who were receiving the books, and that was just so meaningful to me that you would take so many hours out of your day to just let these little kids know that they are loved and they are appreciated, even though they might be different than other people. That's what makes them special. And that's so beautiful. I'm so glad that you did that.
Oh yeah, it's like honestly, I want to do that with my sorority, and like I don't want this to die out. I've really been doing this forever, and it's just like something I have to do. I just like kind of like made it like my mission. Like I'm like superhero, and I'm like I have to do. I got to save the people.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
so helpful. You've done such a great job raising awareness, especially in Texas, where we're from. So many people have been inspired, and so many schools have received thousands of books from you. So that's absolutely amazing.
thank you.
So you were a cradle Catholic. When did you really start to develop a relationship with Jesus for yourself?
Honestly, I would say when I was confirmed in my faith, that's when I was really kind of realizing like this is up to me, because that's kind of when my parents kind of took the training wheels off of me, and it was kind of up to me to go to youth group, and I was teaching, so that would hold me accountable, but it was completely up to me. And if I'm gonna be honest, I kind of slid a little bit, because I my first time attending Life Teen was my senior year. I didn't think I needed it, which was kind of goofy because I was teaching, and it was such a blessing that I was able to find St. Francis. But I'm still learning to be fully like involved in my faith. I still have a lot of questions, and I don't doubt. I just want to know more. And I joined the St. Lawrence here, and it's wonderful. And I love how everyone in the Catholic community is connected, which is really cool. It's not always like a direct line. It's kind of like a wave. You're gonna have better days, and some days are not gonna be as great.
Yeah. So I attended a couple of camps and retreats that you also went to. So how did those affect your faith life? Because for me, it was nice to take a step away from my personal life and just spend this time with people who had similar beliefs as I did and just really focus on Jesus for those few days. And I thought it was really nice to even get away from, my family and my friends and just have my eyes set on Jesus. Did you have the same experience, do you feel like?
Yes. So the first time I went to Cove Crest was one of the most eye-opening experiences. I've never felt so unconditionally loved and appreciated. All my anxiety, depression, it just kind of floated away. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to meet everybody. I wanted to go to morning mass and morning praise. Like, there was nothing that I didn't want to do. I was talking to the priest, and I was talking to the sisters, and I was like, this is incredible. Like, why haven't I not gone to this? Like, anyone listening, go to camps, go to retreats, because they're life changing. And it's like you have this little bubble full of people that believe the same thing as you, and they're wanting to get to heaven just as you do. And it just keeps building. When I went to camp again the next year, and I went to retreats, and then you just keep on building up, and it's just so wonderful. And you just see people that are trying to get to where you want to be, and you see people that are struggling with the same things that you are, and it's so wonderful.
Yeah, it's so beautiful, especially we go to retreats where people share their testimonies, and it's just people are connected on a different level than I've ever seen before because it's so honest and it's so vulnerable, and it's really, really beautiful. And I'm so glad that we can be a part of something like that. So, yeah, I agree. If you get the opportunity, definitely take it.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, so how was your adjustment into college, especially since you said you're like 12 hours away from where you grew up? How was that adjustment for you?
Honestly, It hasn't been too bad. I kind of got right into routine, which is what I would recommend to anybody that's about to go to college. Get into routine, find the nearest church, which I'm really special because my mom went to the same church. This is really cool. And you just have to put yourself out there. I've joined countless clubs and organizations. The thing that makes people miserable and lonely is staying in their dorm, not going out, and just isolating themselves. Because, yes, college is scary, but it can be so wonderful if you just get out. Because so many people are so kind, especially freshmen. You'll just make so many different opportunities, and you won't know if you just stay in one spot. And I have this bad habit. I kind of eat in my dorm a lot because I'm tired, and I don't want to kind of guilt people sometimes. But just go to different dining halls and go to sports events. Sports events are very fun. I love going to sports games. I'm in the Rockwall Club. I do lacrosse. My sorority has been incredible. Like, there's so many ways to meet people, and there's things for every single person. There's like random clubs. There's bonfires that happen. There's just something for everybody, and you just have to like literally just take that little bit of something and just like take it with you. Like with my sorority, there's Bible studies after chapter, which is so wonderful.
So many ways to be involved.
The schoolwork can be a little demanding, but I would just say take it slow and kind of remember why you're here. Why did you want to pursue further education? Because it can be overwhelming, but your worth is so much more than a test grade, and you just have to realize that your mental health means so much more than any grade, anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So how was the process making your decision of where you wanted to go? Did you feel like God was guiding you in that decision to go to KU?
Honestly, I think so. Like I said, my mom attended school here and she played soccer here. And so I always kind of knew, like, I was going to go to KU. But I didn't really know why, except for the fact my mom went here. I applied to two schools, University of Mississippi and University of Kansas. But as I went on my second tour, they were telling me, like, this is the best school of education. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. That was the same weekend that Kansas beat OU. When we won the game, I'm like, this is like where I meant. It's wonderful that my mom went here, but I don't like to say that my mom is the reason I went here. I don't know if I would have thought about the school if she never went here, but it's just so wonderful and amazing catechism program. It opened so many doors for me, not involving my mother, which is I love her. Like, I'll talk about her forever, but I love this school so much. So my family, I love them, but some of my extended family was kind of dissing on me a little bit. They're saying like you're gonna come running back to Texas and like saying some like mean things, and I'm like, I know like you're gonna miss me, but like this is where we all knew I was gonna go. I'm a Jayhawk, like, and like they use my brother, and I love my brother, but he went from Arkansas to Texas, and they think that's gonna happen to me. And I'm like, no, sorry, I'm not coming back.
So what are your tips for seniors in high school or even juniors, but people who are approaching that college experience? What are your tips for finding the right school and making the right decision?
So I've never been to a college fair, but I would recommend going to one of those and kind of get a big understanding and do research. It's not necessary to apply to a bunch of schools because you're only going to go to one. I made lots of lists. It was like a points. It was like if they had all four seasons or they had rivers and oceans, it would be a little points. So that's how I got to where I got. And you kind of just got to pray on it and know that no matter where you go, you're going to get a degree. There's going to be pros and cons of every school. And to just take it wherever you go. If you don't get in, it's God's plan. It's not where you're supposed to end up. But in reality, you kind of deep down know where you're supposed to be at. You got to just spread your wings and fly.
And then what are your tips for people who just started college just like you and they're struggling to find their faith community around them in the new place that they're in?
I would say find the church because that is the most simple thing you can do, but it creates such a big effect. Usually they have like teen events. Go to those because that is how you will find lots of people that believe the same thing as you, that are the same age as you, and they usually will teach you how to pray and how to hear God's voice. And it's so simple. And I've been having a little bit of struggle with my faith, but I've been just trying to read my Bible. And they give you Bibles, like they give you so much free stuff when you're in college. But it's just, you have to really try.
Going back to your charity, Lou's Dream, what are your tips for other people who have learning disabilities, and if they are going through bullying from either other students or teachers like you did, what encouragement do you have for them?
I would say you have to learn to advocate for yourself. You have to know what you deserve and that people will make fun of you. I've had countless guys make fun of me until I cried in front of my teacher and they thought it was funny, which is really, really horrible. But you have to understand what you deserve and what your rights are, because in most states it is illegal to not give accommodations to people with learning disabilities. So you can sue. But I would recommend like going to see someone above you, and people will be jerks, people will be mean, but don't let that change your character, because at the end of the day, my mom always said that people are going to be mean, but don't let that affect your character, because people are going to remember you if you're a sweet, kind person. But if you start saying like mean things, they're going to remember you for saying mean things instead of all the nice things you've done.
Yeah, that's really true. If you could kind of share with us the pros and cons that you've experienced of your first couple months of college, what would those be?
I kind of struggle with staying organized a lot with my schoolwork. I guess that's probably a con. Pro, I love meeting new people. I just I love it all. Some of my teachers or professors, I don't love them totally, but I love all the different opportunities that there are at the school, especially academically. There are like math help rooms, writing workshop, bunch of free tutoring. I love all the sports games and all the clubs and the rock wall. I love the rock wall. I'm not ready for the Midwestern winter. I don't know. I don't have a lot of cons. I think it's all very wonderful.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you mentioned that you are going to school for um, learning how to become a special education teacher. So,
Yes.
how did you make that decision? Obviously, that was
Um,
kind of related to your past and your testimony. So, yeah.
yes. So I had a horrible time, like I said, with the education program in Texas. So when I started Lose Dream, it was no brainer for me to continue and be an early education and special education teacher, because yes, I had special education teachers, but me and my family are just like, I don't think they did anything for you. So I kind of make it my mission to be that. And my goal is to be a kindergarten special education teacher and help them out. And I love my teaching class. It's so much fun.
Okay, well, do you have any last, they can even be random, but any last pieces of advice for the listeners?
Sure. Make sure you're kind to everybody, because you never know what someone's situation is, how bad their day was before this, or what they're going through. Just to be kind. It is so simple, and it's oversaid, but it's never going to be overused. Just be nice to everybody and keep your standards high. If you're in college, there's going to be a lot of guys that are interested in you, but do not lower your standards. And I know that's not really about this podcast, but just be true to yourself. Never dull your sparkle. Let it shine, let it shine. All right, that's all I got.
Awesome. Yeah, what you said about being kind to everyone is so true. And I actually went to a Lauren Daigle concert last April, I think. And she said something that was really meaningful because in the middle of the concert, she said, "Listen, I know you probably don't know some of the people who are around you, but you also don't know if they've experienced love before. And so you have one chance to show them that tonight." And I think that that was really awesome.
Yes, that's I try to do that like on my YouTube channel, it was supposed to be 100, but I did not get 100 people, but it was 43 reasons to stay alive for Suicide Prevention Month. And everyone gave me a reason why they should stay.
Yeah, I did something special. I did a special post for World Mental Health Day, which was, well, it was last week at the time we were recording this. But yes, so we really like to just spread awareness, and it does so much. And thank you so much for all that you've done with Lou's Dream. It's so
Thank
powerful.
you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Prayer Squad podcast. Thank you, Lou, for coming in as a guest today. We loved having you. If you guys are not already, please make sure you're following at the Prayer Squad Pod on Instagram so you can stay updated and know when each episode is coming out. I love you, God bless you, and welcome to the squad.